Here's the heuristic, the rules of thumb, the key things, and of course it's evidence-based, that will help you reflect on your findings. So let's go through these. Now, put them in chunks. So we'll look at them in this way because they're kind of connected. Firstly, as you will have picked up, really important that the interpretations you make are grounded in your data. So having done that, then, well, okay, what can you say about the findings and on what basis? For example, are you making a new claim for some enhancement in knowledge? You may have done some flip research and you find, here's a particular thing that seems to work, and it's perhaps not even identified yet in the literature, so you might be coming up with something new and useful. Then you can say to yourself, right, okay, so what's the significance of the findings to different stakeholders, to students? How will it be relevant to them? Maybe within your school, institution, wider community. And more you find, or more you think you have, some evidence-based claim to new knowledge, then that can go much wider into the global community even. So here's an important thing to do, is to look at your findings and compare and contrast with the other related to research. That's the stuff you've done in your literature review, right? And you're asking yourself, well, what's similar? Have I found stuff that's already been verified prior, and I'm adding to that verification process? Are you finding something different? And what does that mean? What interpretations can you make on the differences? Is it a product of your research design, or are you actually finding something that could be pretty useful further down the line? And invariably, look at it in terms of, does it enhance understanding and ultimately practice? Because that's why we do this stuff in the first place. Now, having gone through the process, you're then in a position to say, I think I could make certain recommendations. So in using the flipped classroom, this could be something that I would say, yeah, it's more likely to work with more students because of this research, and it's perhaps verifiable in terms of the way students learn. So think carefully about the recommendations that you make and on what basis. Very important also is to be honest and straight with yourself, and invariably when you invest time in something, you often have a vested interest in it. But bias, subjectivity is inevitable. We try to reduce it, and one way of doing this is to make our evaluations, make our methodology as explicit and open as possible. So look at where, perhaps in the research design, the sample, whatever, the way you've done aspects of the methodology, look for where there might be limitations and make these explicit, certainly to yourself at this stage. And if you write it up, it's really important to do that. So limitations of your research, maybe there's areas where the validity of the findings could be questioned. Certainly generalizability is difficult, so be careful in making such claims, and invariably its usefulness. And finally, just think, well, okay, I've done this. Is there anything else that I've learned from this experience that might be useful to share with others? It could be colleagues you're working with, or if you publish it, it's written up for a conference or a journal. Well, is this going to be useful to the readers? And this could be anything about the managing yourself in doing the research, in a certain aspect of doing coding, finding categories, anything you think that is worth sharing, and that's your judgment.